Hello, welcome to another episode of Crash Cinnamon. This is your host, McKenna. Today we're on episode 5 and we're discussing about shared identity or collective identity, which for those who've been following is also part of the bigger, wider conversation about social capital and how it fits in human relationships and how these human relationships are formed and how they're impacted by the various elements in the social capital framework. So we'll look at collective identity or social shared identity, and there's a writer called Melucci, and he looks at collective identity really from a sociology point of view, where he says that it's individuals who recognize they have shared orientations, norms, things that they do together, and on the basis of recognizing this, that's when they act together. And in a way that works, because if you realize, especially in sports, that's how it works. It's more of we have this in common as team members and we act a certain way, okay? Or in the army, actually, military, they have shared norms. There's a way they carry themselves, there's a way they have to adhere to what they signed up for, and they move as one unit because of that shared norm and practice. Basically, even things like lawyers as well, the oaths they take, doctors, there's many ways of looking at it really. And from the psychological point, if you look at psychology, there's two writers, Pauletta and Jasper, and they define collective identity as an individual's cognitive, moral, and emotional connection with a broader community, category, practice, or institution. So, and the collective identity of a group really is usually often expressed through groups, cultures and traditions, and you'll see that most of people, the group that have that collective identity, they'll have artifacts, they'll have mission statements, and all this is a way to express their identity. So the identity and how I want to look at it is from the psychological point. The origin of the identity that they share can be from within the group, within or outside of the group, but ultimately a collective identity is normally formed upon the group's members' acceptance of the identity. So it's more of an agreed thing. It's a negotiation of saying, yes, this is who we are and this is what we agree to. Okay, as opposed to in sociology, whereby we already have this thing in common, so we act together because we're in common. So in terms of race especially, for example, black people can unite together, and we've seen with all the recent marches that have happened with Black Lives Matter, they shared an identity whereby, one, they're black, two, they recognize that the black community is being marginalized, and especially in the States now with the police situation, police brutality, they realize their community is the one that keeps being targeted in terms of how the police reaction, or lack of reaction in terms of doing the right thing. And that's why they come collectively to raise awareness. And speaking on that, really, I think it's created a lot of backlash, especially where I am in the UK, whereby, especially in football, the teams decided when they went back to play after COVID lockdown it was eased off, that they would, all take the knee, and their shirts had Black Lives Matter, and a lot of fans didn't understand that, and some did, some understood, and I think that the bigger conversation here is, even before the Black Lives Matter movement or organization came there, the campaign for equality for Black people or people of color or African descent, or depending on how you want to define them, has always been there, and it's just now giving it a voice, a vehicle, and it's not a thing you can say it stops today or it stops with Black History Month. No, it's a continued conversation, because we're still not accepting of each other's differences just because of the color of the skin, and which to me is retarded, really. Again, it comes back to social class and who's who, and who decides which race is more important than other, and again, it comes down to social capital. Again, who the people with the power decide, the people who are in this group decide who fits in and what works for them, and that's why fascists and narcissists and all these East people with an IST, not East, thrive, because they decide what identities and norms, rather not identities, but what norms they'll incorporate for their organization, and they move as one. Yeah, so that's why racism is rife. It's one of those things that is very powerful, because it causes human beings to behave differently. And that's the focus of our talk today, really. Social identity or collective identity has a way of informing our human behavior. Some people even call it pack mentality. You only need to see boys who are 16-year-olds together and put them in a room full of girls and just let nature take its course, and you'll see how they'd operate. It's that kind of thing. And I guess my focus really is in bring it back down to us, me and you, basically. How do you choose what collective identity you will subscribe to? Okay, and this whole thing of in-group, out-group, bias and all these things. Funny enough, writers and researchers have argued, actually, when there's a shared identity, there is less conflict, because there's motivation, there's self-esteem is, rises in the group within. And the good thing about collective identity is that you can be diverse in the group, whereby, for example, let's talk about race. You can have a group of people who are from different ethnicities. Actually, I don't like talking about race, because we're all one race, the human race, so we just have different ethnicities. So if you're African or North American, that's more of an ethnicity as opposed to a race. Okay, so you can come from different parts of the world, but have this collective identity that you're all coders, or you're all Liverpool supporters. Yes, yeah, football had to come in there one time. And I'll speak about football, actually, because it's something I love, I enjoy. I used to play football a lot when I was younger, and it's amazing how sports can bring people together from different corners of this earth, people with different abilities, people from different social groups, from different social class, educational backgrounds. When I go for games at Anfield, I don't ask the person next to me by the way, how much do you earn? Are you employed? Are you married? No, if you're not, are you single? There's that kind of fades away when we are at the stadium. We all are here to cheer our team. That's it. That's the main thing. We are all here to cheer the team, and nothing else matters. And it's funny that at that point in 90 minutes, we all forget all that. We forget we live in different postcodes, we live in different houses, we live in different situations, we have different pay scales. We forget all that. We are human. Just people who love football and are cheering the team. Soon after the 90 minutes, when we come out of the gates, then like magic, we remember, oh, that's black, oh, that's white. In fact, funny enough, I've ever faced racism from my own fellow Liverpool fans, and misogyny as well. And I remember there's a reason why I don't go for football games anymore, really, because it became really weird. And the sexist remarks as well from some fans is just, oh gosh, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Anyway, on the flip side, on a positive side, thanks to this collective identity of being a Liverpool supporter, I met some people I would not have met actually because of the game. And one of these groups, there's a group in Kenya for Liverpool supporters, and that group is as dynamic as it can come, and it's as varied as it can get, and it's as diverse. Believe you me, it's diverse. And I made some amazing friends who I still are in contact with, and I actually forget that we met because of this group being formed on Facebook for all fans who are not all fans, but Liverpool fans in Kenya. And it's interesting sometimes when I meet up with them, we go watch a game and we are all singing, and they're always fascinated because I live in Liverpool, and they're always asking me, so what's different? Has the stadium changed? And all these things, and the banter is amazing, and I forget that really these are people who I didn't know before, and now we're friends, and some of them have become very good friends of mine, and we share different things in terms of life. So in conclusion, really, I guess there's a place for a collective identity. There is, because certain agendas, certain things have to move in a group way, kind of way. And also it's a way of a sense of belonging if you think about it, because if you are a Liverpool fan like I am, you meet Liverpool fans. It's funny, wherever I go, wherever I travel, if I meet another Liverpool fan, it's on like rice. We are chatting, we are singing away our anthem. It's amazing. Same as rugby as well. I love rugby as well, and whenever I go for the games and I meet up people from all over the world, Fiji, Australia, New Zealand, all parts of the UK, Kenya, wherever, it's just amazing. And it's one thing that bring you together, and it's a beautiful thing. So my challenge to you this week is really examine this shared identity, this collective thing. Are you in a thing that really, if you strip it down, it's what you guys share is really not healthy? The things you've decided to be the norms and the traditions for your group are not healthy, are not helpful, are not really about you, or you are kind of peer pressured into joining this thing, or you're in an amazing group and it's helped you mentally, financially, probably you've joined an investors group, or a women's group because you're a new mom maybe, or a women's group in terms of talking about women issues, aside from what society just says we should cook, clean, and have babies, and it's inspired you to start your own business, or it's amazing. So that's the topic today, and I'd like to hear your views on what you think about collective identity, and has it helped you, in your relationships with others? Okay, thank you very much. Tune in again to the next episode of Crushed Cinnamon. I will have a Q&A in the next episode for episode 1 and 2. Thank you for all the questions that you've been sending. So the next episode will be a Q&A about that. Thank you.